No matter where you do, you know say that we can't stop. We stand up and salute you to the yellow, the green, the black. And make them know say that we want this mystical matter.
The world is for your taking, and giving up is the only crime. Now written on the pages of history, this is your moment, this is your time.
Yes, people, welcome, yeah. Welcome to the channel, bless up to everyone that's passing through, man. Don't know what to do, yeah. Appreciate everybody's service, yeah. If you're watching it back on the replay, you don't know, like the video and also subscribe. It's the first time over here, yeah. Again, as what I did yesterday, I'm going to go ahead and, give some details of Group B, yeah, with all three teams. Yeah, I'm going to finish my production, what I was doing yesterday, and also, tiptoe in, what's really going on around our own football. And, respectfully, if there is anything to answer, from you guys, I will answer, the best of my knowledge. You don't know, as we are not working with anyone, we are individual parties, so you don't know we're there to talk about as it is, But I said, man, people, welcome to the show again. I appreciate everybody's service, yeah. You don't know what to do, like the video if you're new, subscribe to the channel if it's first time over here. But, where I'm going to start, I seen a squad of the Latry, the Ecuadorian national team, a final 26-man squad that named. And, previously they named a professional, but, it cut down to 26, and then I see the final squad for the Copa America. And what I have seen, I'm impressed. A few players, got missed out. One of their center half and their starting left back, the bright man, yeah, Estopiniane, he's out, he's not in the squad of what I'm seeing reporting. So I seen it on ESPN, so I guess it's credible, yeah. I guess it's credible that that's their final squad for the Copa America. And I know the player has been struggling, with injury, all season long. But look, let me get this up. So people, so this, is the Ecuadorian squad that I saw, on ESPN, that, that is the official squad for the Copa America that will come up against the Reggae Boys, Mexico, and Venezuela, yeah? You can take a look. But look, I'm going to get a little details of their own squad itself, So, the three goalkeepers, Alexander Dominguez, Moises Ramirez, Galindez. Yeah, Alexander, is both three goalkeepers are locally in South America. Dominguez is a servant for this national team, I think around a decade and a half now. Galindez is an Argentinian born. He is getting a lot of stick. I've seen even a press release from out of Ecuador that they do not want the same thing that happening in the circle of Jamaican football, where them labeling the players them that who not born inside of the 876, yeah, labeling it as overseas born players. And the Ecuadorian press, even the mayor have stepped in, yeah, the mayor have even stepped in and said, look, we do not want this around our football. If you have an Ecuadorian passport, you is an Ecuadorian, yeah? You is an Ecuadorian, so unless you're not having an Ecuadorian passport, you can't say anything. But it's a big thing, it's a big thing. And I was having dialogue, with few Venezuelan, one of them is a YouTuber, and a next one he worked for some radio station back in Venezuela, and they were actually giving me a little details. And it's something that it's happening, not something frequent happen, but it's just one of those sort that you don't find a lot of Argentinian born go on and represent the Ecuadorian team. So Galindez, he's currently playing for Hurricane, in the Argentinian, Premier Division, that's the first division, and the game that the game that he played against Argentina, that was on Sunday. I think, a few local people are saying, look, it was his fault why they lost the game and all of that. But that's when, the things start to break out early Monday morning in their country, and they're not just having it. It's not like us, putting a paper over the crack and like, look, just cover it up and just move on from it. But, look, again, I tell the people, this is what I seen, on ESPN that, the Ecuadorian 26-man squad have named, they said that's their final squad that they're going to name for the Copa America. But let's see because they still have a few more days to change. I think they still have a few more days to change, until I think the deadline of the squad, and if there's an injury report, you have like, I think 24 hours before your first game in the competition, but again, they have played with 5 goalkeepers this season, all 3 of these goalkeepers, Galindez, Ramirez and Dominguez all played throughout this year for this national team, going to move on, Dominguez, have over 70 caps for the national team, so he's a very experienced, goalkeeper. I think one goalkeeper, I think is Farines, he played in the French league, he have missed out. Also, but the defenders, Robert Arboleda, is from Sao Paulo, Joel Ordonez is from Club Brugge, is a very good youngster, and I think, their backline, it stretched back. I think the youngest, I think it's around 19, and the oldest is up to, I think, 32, 33. So it's average around 24 years, their backline. So it's a pretty decent. It's the best squad that they could pick. Yeah, that's the best squad I see. Felix Sanchez could have picked. Andreas Mikolta, played for Pachuca, in Liga MX. Felix Torres played for Corinthians, in the Brazilian league. Also, William Paco played for Eintracht Frankfurt, a very good center half. I think they picked 6. They picked 6 solid center half, and one of them can play in that left back position, the Bayer Leverkusen man. Yeah, Peru, Jose Hurtado, the right back, for Red Bull Bragantino in Brazil. Lion Laur, he played locally in Ecuador, a left back, so they're with an inexperienced left back, Jackson, Porozo, a late addition to the squad because, their favorite left back didn't make it in time. He's not fully recovered from his injury. So, he's played in the French league. I think he's playing in the league there, but he's currently in the Jackson Porozo is currently in the Turkish league. So, they have a very inexperienced left back. Yeah. These players that playing in the left back for them they don't really see much game. And again, maybe he can go with a more experienced player in the squad that can play that left back, the Leverkusen man. Normally this squad is set up to play 3 at the back. They're well equipped to play 4 at the back, 3 at the back. Angela Preciado, the right back, the man that played in Czech Republic for Sparta Prague. He's another player. I've seen that. Look, the Reggae Boys can also target him as well. He's a very good wing back, but at times, their position awareness can get out of, and they can lose shape if you manage to get under their skin, if you manage to press. And this is a team that, when I watch them, even in the last World Cup, you see that this is a team that they have this slow build up at times. They can get up like a horse out of the black light, and like 2-3 passes they're in your defensive third. But I see something, under this coach, it's just not something that I've seen quite often. Felix Sanchez, that's why he's getting a lot of critique. He's people is calling for his head already. But I have a stats about this coach, in his last few games, important games. And that's why I'm saying, they have this thing that, under him, they are not so prolific, in their build-up. But I see, a lot of loophole in their team where, we can actually go on and try to create from our moment. But in their last 6 games, in their last 6 competitive games, they had 285 passes, accurate passes per game, and they have more of those passes in their own half. So I see it, with our athletic, with our pressing in terms of how quick our players can get to the Ecuadorian players, it can create chaos. Yeah, it can create chaos. And when this team conceded first in the past, they're more to go on to either lose the game or draw the game. They not managed to get many results from coming from behind, so that's something that can look into. Yeah, that's something that can look into. But moving down to the let me see, moving down to the other part of their squad. Yeah, moving down to the other part of their squad, the midfield. This is where it get really sticky. Again, let me pull it up back. So Carlos Cruzo, from the man from San Jose Earthquake, the big man in the midfield, Moises, Gonzalo's Plata, a very good midfielder, Alan Franco, a very good CDM also, Joseph Cifuentes, attacking player, Jeremy Sarmiento from Ipswich, Omari Hutchinson will know him as well, João Ortiz from Independente Valley, Kendry Paez, one of the star man for this team, yeah, and Alan Minda from Club Brugge, yeah, and Johan Joboa, playing, I think he's playing in Poland. I'm not going to even pronounce that word, yeah, I'm not going to even pronounce that word, but what you will get, from this midfield, yeah, they will cover a lot of miles. When I and I said it yesterday, when I look on DJ and heat map, it is so light. When I look on Kendry Paez, when I look on Moses, but I want to talk about Kendry, the commentators, in that game against Argentina, they's like, look, he's a youngster, and his knowledge and his IQ of playing in the two-sided of a midfield, attacking and also in the defensive part, you don't really get that from youngsters. Yeah, you don't really get that from youngsters. So his heat map is actually, it is so superb that he's covering so many miles. He's covering so many miles, and in the game also, Moses, you're going to get that from him as well. Yeah, but what the bigger teams in South America don't give this Ecuadorian team, yeah, they don't give them much time on the ball. And if you look on the both games that they played, the game that they played in the qualifier against Argentina and the game that they played on Sunday, the friendly game, they don't get a lot of time on the ball. And when they don't get a lot of time on the ball, it's like they're confused. And me watching the Ecuadorian team, throughout the qualifier since it started, and there are a couple of friendly games that they play, I'm like, this team is like, this is a level I would love, the Reggae Boys to be at. But when I dig deep and start to do a little more research, I realized that the coach, yeah, Felix Sanchez, they actually want him out. So a lot of I think surrounding in his little short time in the Ecuadorian team already, just around here. As I said, people is calling for a few local coaches. Let me find George Sampoli, the man that actually won the Copa America with Chile. Another coach at Jorge Sileco and Guilherme Almada. 3 coaches that coaching locally in the Ecuadorian league. They want him to be replaced by one of those. So they say the team is no identity. And since probably the last week and a half, I have been linking, just having more chit chat, making some groundwork, linking up with some other media journalists from South America, and I'm actually getting in touch with some of them. I'm actually having conversation with them, and just by asking, you want to know as deep, as you're doing this job, you want to get the more information on this team. And it's actually, look, if this Ecuadorian team don't perform well in this Copa America with this golden era of these young players, the coach will hasta la vista, and they will ship him out. They will look to ship him out, But this is the nature of the game, with South American teams. You don't really have much time, in your job. But one thing though, I kind of see the weakness in this Ecuadorian team. When you look at Ena Valencia, if you take him away from this team, yeah, and add the other two strikers, their name is Jordi Caicedo, playing at last in Liga MX, and Kevin Rodriguez, playing in the Liga in the Belgian Pro League. Both strikers, they have less than 20 competitive games, and they just had 2 goals amongst them. And those 2 goals, only come from Jordi Caicedo, the man that played in Mexico at that last year. He's 26 years old. So, Ena Valencia is 34. Kevin Rodriguez, the youngster, he's 20. He's 24, and the next striker, Jordi, is 26. So, if we can manage to lock or put Ena Valencia in one of our center of pocket, and look, there's no way for you to go. Yeah, closing him down. It's just like the Mexican team. These 3 teams that we're coming up against, I don't see them from a major threat in terms of their attacking, the attackers, like strikers, the main number 9, you have, I think it's Martinez and Santi Jimenez in the Mexican, as a number 9. Those 2 players probably will go on to make, Jaime Lozano, 26-man squad in a few days from now when he announced that as well. Santi, a very promising player, for Mexico, but yet to prove himself. Martinez, play in Mexico, yet to prove himself on a big stage, but he's close to up that 30 age, I think he's around 28, 29, so the Venezuelan, when you look at Solomon Rondon, he's just like a Mikel Antonio. He's on the back part of his career, looking to end. And even though he's scoring a few goals there and there for Pachuca, Martinez, since that season he had an Tata Martino at Atalanta in the MLS, he just cannot find that farm, So I don't think we going to come on a threat from these number 9. Ena is a good quality player. He's a good quality player for Ecuador. Look what he did. Scored goals for them when he needed in the World Cup. But when you take away those main striker, from those teams, what else they have? It's just that we need to lock shop in those areas, and hopefully we can get that midfield with a lot of balance. Yeah, but. Let's move on. Let's move on from that Ecuadorian team. But one thing though, I written this down. I'm so happy that I written this down. The transition for Ecuadorian players. Yeah, the transition for Ecuadorian players from youth 15. I would say start from youth 17. The transition from them from youth team go all the way up to the under 23, which is the Olympic. It's just crazy, the amount of players, and it's over 50% of the players in this 26-man squad. The transition that they made from the youth setup, into the senior team. It's just crazy that so many of them, make that transition, and there's actually a pathway. For them to get into the senior team. So you could see that quite a few local players in this Ecuadorian 26-man squad, and I think they will play. Bolivia. I think Ecuador play Bolivia tonight. Yeah, in a friendly game. But Mexico not yet to announce their final squad. But I went on and just dropped down my own. I went on to drop down my own 26. Probably the strongest team that the strongest squad that Jaime Lozano probably could name out of that 30-man squad that he have been playing a couple of friendly games. And oh my God, talking to even this morning, on my way to work, talking to a L3 fan, they actually want this man out of his job, as they said, look, the president is having some interference with the selection of the squad. So let's see what's. But as I said yesterday in that previous show, I don't really want to repeat too much of what I said yesterday, but all these teams in our region, especially in this Group B of the Copa America, is having problem, and this is the best time. This is the best time. Jamie Lozano is under pressure. And a lot of media outlets in Mexico label him as scared. He's scared of the powerhouses. Yeah, when you're talking about the powerhouses, the president, the team manager, the sponsorship who sponsor the Mexico national team as they pump a lot of money in it. Yeah, they actually telling him what to do. He's scared to make substitution. His squad management is very poor. A lot of people looking at, he played the Brazil national team, a few days back, and he started the reserve goalkeeper, and is yet even to know his best starting lineup. The three goalkeepers that he have in his selection that he can possibly pick for the Copa. Those three goalkeepers are very inexperienced. I think one Rangel that keep in the Brazil game, and Malagon, actually the Club America keeper. Yeah, and Rangel, he just played little bit over 20 first team football in Liga MX first division, so he's inexperienced. So no Guillermo Ochoa, no leadership in the back. Actually, when you look in that left back position for the Mexico national team, what they can pick, it's a inexperience. Those players are, Gerardo Ortega from Monterrey, and Brian Gonzalez from Pachuca. Brian actually is one of the most attacking player in that left back position where he can select from. But again, they on a slightly rebuilding phase in their camp at this moment. So this is the best time. And there's always this thing, when it's like when we play this Mexico team, there's always this feeling that we can get something. But it's because of the whole they really play and structure their game. It's best suited for our coaches, especially our coach Alf Grimson. When you look at coach Alf Grimson, he's getting the best out of his players defensively. Yeah, set up his team, sit behind the ball, and wait for the opponent team to come out. And then what he do, he hit them from there. So I think the Mexican team in this region, is best equipped for us to play against them at any given time. But we need this one, the 2-2 draw in the Azteca. That one hurt. We should have made it to the Nations League. Not the Nations League that just went, the other one that we drew 2-2, we missed out, just by I think a point, our goal difference, in that group phase when Coach Algrim's first competitive game, and then the semi-final that we lost in the Gold Cup last summer. That one would have been hurt really bad. So we need to get one over the Mexico. Yeah, we need to get one over. And I think playing them at first, it is the best option, and then play Ecuador. I think we can do something, looking around the spectacles of the football of what's going on in South America, in Central America, in Mexico. I believe that with the addition of the players and that expected to be back in the national team for us, we can do something, and we will do something big. As I said, I need my first goal in the Copa America. We need to put our first points on the board in Copa America. We can't afford to go 3 Copa America final group stage and not record a point and not record a goal. Yeah, we need goals. And we're going to get it. But yeah, so this is the squad that I came up with, the best possible squad, that I see probably Jamie Lozano probably could pick. You're going to have the regular suspect, Cesar Montes and Vasquez, the man from Genoa, and Almeria. Yeah, this is my own 26, Mexican squad. Both center half, Jean Vasquez, Cesar, they been known to making at least 2 to 3 mistakes per game. That's their thing. They known to be making mistake. Look at the right back position. It's not the strongest. Their wing back position, you could say these players that they pick in their wing back position is probably the best players at the moment for the Mexican national team. But this is their first major tournament like this. They're going to come up against, remember what happened. We want to leave that mark in Mexico. In Mexico, the last game Mexico played in a Copa America, a 7-0 them get from Chile in the quarterfinal. The last game them playing at Copa America, they lost it 7-0. So going to that game, and we can whip them either 2-0 or something. We just need 3 points. We will bring back that 2016 fever again in the back of their mind. Like, will this team go through? Yeah, will this team make it out? And telling you, this Venezuela team is up with a shocker in this group B. They're up with a shocker. Trust me, they hope they're going to come rocking. And I said they're not playing any game in front of public eyes. Everything what this Venezuelan team is doing right now, it is behind closed door. I don't know what. Fernando Baptista, the Argentinian coach, what is his thinking? What is his logic behind of not playing any competitive game? Look, I think it's trying to remember. I know it was somewhere early 2000, where the Venezuelan team, there wasn't a big pause in South American football, especially in Copa America. It took them a few decades before they actually got their first win in a Copa America tournament, and look what they did, you would say probably 13, 14 years ago, in the 2011 Copa America, where they came fourth, they got beaten in the semi-final. They're looking for that repeater. Yeah, they're looking to repeat that what they did. That's their best ever run in a major tournament, So I think they're up for something. But looking at the Mexico midfield, again, Edson, Luis Chavez, Carlos, Rodriguez, Eric Sanchez, Belén Pineda, Roberto Alvarado, Andres Montana, Montano, look at these, the midfield three will go on to be, Edson, Luis, Romo, both Luis Chavez and Romo, both players, would more likely. But I seen him, he did an experiment and putting in, Pineda in that number 10 position, against Brazil, and it did not work, So again, Mexico, they don't know their best 11 right now. When you look again, the forwards, Antuna, Santi, Julian Quiñones, Alex Vega, Guillermo Martinez, that's the other striker, that's the backup for Santi Jimenez, and Marcelo Flores, a 20-year-old from Tigres. Yeah, when you look at those players, again, it's not the best. No El Chucky Lozano, no Henry Martin, the big powerhouse striker for Club America, no Raul Jimenez. So look at it, the Mexico have been struggling since Hernandez, passed his best in the national team. This setup haven't been so prolific up front. They're struggling, as even Raul didn't manage to do what he expect to do in the major tournaments, And this is a tournament that the fans and the Mexican hierarchy, they rank this as probably the second best tournament that they can ever play behind the World Cup, and it ranked right over the World Cup. This is something that they always want to play, and this is a tournament that they always want to try to win. This is something that they always try to prove against the South Americans. They always have that competitive battle between them, that rivalry. So look out, but again, not many goals, in this attacking sets of players, and for Mexico, Antuna, yet to live up for his name. A wonderful season at Cruz Azul, last in the final, but I don't see much players in this starting in this attacking force for the Mexican team can really trouble us if we manage to lock in all those attacking players. Again, moving on though, so no experience in the strikers, but I don't think Mexico will get out of this soon. Trust me. I just having this feeling that this Mexican team will not get out of this zone. Especially if the Reggae Boys get something positive, either a point or get full maximum 3 points from the first game against Mexico, they will be looking to go home. Trust me. But I just don't see this Mexico team is where they should be at the moment. They have a few players that's really up to the standard that can play in top 5 league around the Europe top 5 league, and how many of those players are playing in Europe top 5 league that you could say playing in the Mexico? So many local players, in the squad, But next up, looking at the Venezuelan team, the 26 that I came up with. Yeah, Rafael Romo, from Universidad, Católica, local in Ecuador, American de Cali, in Colombia, Jose Contreras, from Águilas Doradas in Mexico, the defenders, Alexander Gonzalez, Wilker Angel, Jordan Osorio from Parma, Nahuel Ferrasi, from Sao Paulo, the left back, Miguel Navarro from Talares, unknown from Chicago Fire, Christian Macoun, from Famagusta. I don't remember. I think Famagusta is from one of those European countries. Jean, Aramanda Buru from Real Sociedad, Rene Rivas from Caracas in Ecuador, and the midfield goes, Thomas Rincon, Romulo, Otero from Santos. Both players are from Santos. Darren Machis from Cadiz. John Murillo from Atlas in Mexico. Jefferson Samarino, Botafogo. Christian Casares from Toulouse, France. Jose Martinez, a player that Damian Lowe would know well, from Philadelphia Union. Daniel Pereira from Aston FC. Kevin Andrade from Fortaleza from Brazil, and Jesus Bueno from Philadelphia Union, also, a player that Damian Lowe will know quite well. Yeah. But look, not the best of attacking threat. When you look on Salomon Rando from Pachuca, Sergio Cordova from Sochi in Russia, Jean Hurtado from Quito, Cadiz, Jando Cadiz, from Falcao in Brazil, I think he's in Brazil, and Joseph Martinez from Montreal. But again, look at these players, not taking anything away. But one thing though I can say, with the Venezuelan team and the Ecuadorian team, the unit, the players in that, in that group, they have played for some time now. They have played for some time, especially this Venezuelan team. They having that understanding. They have a very good coach, Fernando Baptista, coach in Argentinian. He have done a lot of work in the selection of the Alves Celeste in Argentina senior team. He bring Argentina team to the Olympic. Youth setup. He's once was amongst the Armenian national team. So he have done a fair, and he was actually the assistant coach. I think it was Gareca. He was the assistant coach before he got the main job for Venezuela. So they have a very good team. But again, this group, I just see us. Once we play our card the right way, I don't think we should fail to get out of this group. We have so much quality players, that can pick. But again, this zone will favor the Reggae Boys, as we are not getting much credit out there, when it comes on to this group. Not many people have us to get out of this zone. Yes, they gave us the respect because of the players that we have, but again, there's a stigma around because of what we did in our last 2 Copa America. We didn't do anything. So, a lot of people say, yo, look, the spectacle is too high, the bar is too high. And if you could look at this stats, with the Reggae Boys, let me give you this with the Reggae Boys. I think I have it written down. So if you look at it, they're not giving much credit, when they rank us in this group, in the last Gold Cup, So in the last Gold Cup, we had our stats are pretty higher than our last Copa America in 2016, and it compare, with our accurate passes per game. We had a 78% accurate passes per game, and we had 88 ball possession in our own half, and we had 68 in the opposition half, 68 possession accurate pass in the opposition half. So you look at it, And look at this one in the last Copa, accurate is 230, accurate passes in our own half is 112, that's 83%. And in the opposition half, it's 102. So, you could see that, it's going to drop because the Copa America is a lot higher competition in a lot of quality teams over there, so. And everyone know for us over here, the Reggae Boys, we are not the best in terms of dealing with ball possession. We are more like a transition team over the years whenever these coach. Schaefer is probably the one of the only coach I can remember that I see play front foot football. Football with a little bit of pace, more direct. I even remember again that game that we played against Uruguay in the Centenario, where we outrun them, we outpossessed them, we outstats them in that game. But only thing we didn't do in that game is to put the ball in the back of the net, which the Uruguayan team did in that game and beat us. So it shows that that game we can get the best of the South American. And I think I think it was Michael Hector in that game, was playing. He was playing midfield alongside I don't remember, but I know even Clayton Donaldson was in that game. McCleary, McKinnon was in that game. I don't remember if Nazareth was in that game. Kemal Lawrence was, but it's a weaker squad compared to what we have now. So I don't understand why if we manage to just train a team, coach a team to play a little bit positive, we can do it. We can do it against these teams. We equip. Look at the players that we have playing in some of the highest leagues around the world. The countries that our players are playing. Most of them, playing in the top division in their countries, just like the few players that we have playing in Championship League One, and that's it. Our players are playing in top competition against top players. So I just don't see why we can't, get on the front foot at times, But what I saw last night, when I came off live, and I don't know, I know this, Daniel, if you still on here, I know he's a Chelsea fan, but I got this from another Chelsea fan, after I came off live last night. He sent me, if I don't see the thing, with one of that Twitter page, and it's a certified Twitter page, it's a certified Twitter page of the Chelsea team, the Carefree Youth. And he showed me last night that, look, they have posted something that, the Chelsea players are not selected for Copa. Brazil, Angelo Gabriel, Andre Santos, David Washington, from Brazil, none of them got selected in the Copa America squad. And Jamaican, no Dujan and no Omari Hutchinson. So I'm just wondering, and actually no Gabriel Solana for the US, and Jackson Martinez. Nicholas Jackson is actually out, and it actually stated that, so I don't know, man. This is what, most people would have, probably seen this being floating around the air, of what, the Carefree Youth have put out that, how are two players and not. Again, man, where we should turn, where we should turn with this, with this Omar Hutchinson thing. I don't want to be speculating too much, as the squad is set to release in 2.5 hours from now. Locally in Jamaica, locally in Jamaica, I think probably 3 hours, 3 hours before, the squad can be named, but this Omar Hutchinson, got promoted to the championship, than the Reggae Boys, the Jamaica national flag around the waist show that, you loyal to the country. But I'm just saying, if he's not in the squad, I would love to hear, the reasons of why he's not in the squad. I would just love to know the reason why he's not in the squad. As in the games that we play, the World Cup qualifier games, I would probably love to hear a press conference from the coach, why he's not around. Again, previously, for the Nations League, he has said, look, the coach have even said it, focusing on Ipswich, focusing on getting promoted. promotion with his club. No, he got promoted. He's in transfer limbo with Chelsea. Is he going to stay? Is he going to extend his contract? It's so much things, yeah. So Daniel said, yeah, that page is legit when it comes on to Chelsea youth. That's what I'm saying. Look, when I seen it, last night, and I sent you it early this morning, Daniel, and I was scratching my head like, no, not again, man. This is a player, I want to see him play. I want to see him play in the national team. I want to see him in the Copa America. I want to see the Reggae Boys' best youth players in the Copa America. As I just think, with the likes of Kendrick Paez in our group for Ecuador, Omari, Hutchinson, there are similar players. Play in the number 10, can play off the wing. And I think with the issues that we currently have in our midfield, I just think, with the amount of chances this player, Omar Hutchinson, have created in a championship, when you look at his championship stats compared, with probably our best player, I know championship is a lower tier from the Premier League, but against with Leon Bailey, it's right up there with his statistics, his big chances, he created, shots on goal, shots outside the 18, shots inside the 18, how much I think I can find it. But I don't want to really go into that. But I'm just saying though, his stats are right up there amongst our best players. And if you take away Leon Bailey, he probably is one of the, you said, of the most best statistics in this team. So I want to see him play. Just look at how he can play in that number 10. Look at how, when he's drifting off that wing position for Ipswich Town for Kieran McKenna team and get in that number 10. He's so clever. He's so clever in the midfield, and I don't think we have anything at this moment in our team that can actually open up these South American teams. They can actually get in beyond these midfielders in between the defensive line and the midfielder line. He's so clever right there. So I just want him to come and I want him to play, but I don't know where his head pieces at. Daniel said, he's not going to play. He's still on vacation. The tournament start. I even whisper the next one, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know why, all these things are just going around our best youth players. I want to see our best youth players playing in these tournaments, especially Dixon, Omari, Whisper. Those three players are some of the high caliber player that is circling around that should be in the squad. We should be preparing these players. These players are going to be at the right age 2 years from now. You don't want to prepare in some 31, 32 years old man that going to be in their mid-30s 2 years from now when we qualify for this World Cup. You want these players, just like what US did when they realized that, look, they won't be any Russia in 2018, and what they do, they brought through, who are your 26-man squad, for what? Los Blancos, for the Copa? You're talking about for the Copa, for the Reggae Boys? Let me know if you're talking about for the Reggae Boys Copa squad. But look at what the US did. Look at what even this Venezuela did. The Yankee Herrera, the Casares, the Soteldo, these players that they bring in through at young age, letting them groom, letting them play together, and look, they're at a stage now where they're so experienced. They're so experienced as a group. They know what it is now to get through the CONMEBOL. They have that understanding. They have a very good system. They have a very good chemistry amongst the players. So we just tired for saying, the chop and change between our youngsters. Want the youngsters to have more consistent, in whenever a FIFA date. Is either going to be friendly? Is either going to be Nations League, World Cup qualifier? Is it going to be World Cup? We want the best players and the best young players right now, because my aim is not just what going to happen 2026, 2030 in Spain and Morocco, 2034, 2038, 2042. You get what I said? 2046, 2050, and go to 2050. 10 years ago, when the Chinese Super League just started to bringing all these big players, from Europe to their league. They said, look, 2050 is when the Chinese national team is going to start to get in the face of a lot of these Asian teams, South America, South Korea, the Japan, the Australia, these teams. Yeah. So we need to have that balance. We need to have that system that, look, we're not just thinking what's ahead of us, we're thinking for the future. So, the next World Cup 2030, a Whisper, Cain, Hutchinson, these players, Splat, these young players at the age of around 20 to 23, they are going to be at their peak, 6 years from now when it's the World Cup in Morocco and I think in Portugal. Yeah, so I don't know, man. I don't know, but look, these players, I just think they must be in the squad. You're talking about, hopefully, Ethan Pino is fully recovered, from his injury. Pino, Deshaun, Joel, hopefully Joel is back from his calf, Hector, Damian, hopefully Bell is ready, because, Bell was, before he got injured, he one of the most consistent players. And then, Gregory is, again, at this moment, you say for the last 6-7 games, Gregory is one of the most consistent players for the Reggae Boys, consistently doing it, putting in a performance, for the team, So I just want to see, Ethan, Deshaun, Lati, Hector, Nana, Bell, Lay, Dexter, and also, who's going to be that backup, still yet to convince me. Tavon Gray, I think we should probably go on and, try to source another right back, but I'm going to give Tavon, some opportunity to get his groove in the team. But I want to see those players in that Copa squad that are going to be named, like K-Rai, Bobby, and hopefully, I can see a Jonathan Russell in the team. Hopefully, I can see a John Russell in the team, and he's not even getting enough game at his club. But when you look at where DJ is at, DJ seems like he's way off the pace at the moment. Yeah, of what he done in that first game against Dammer. Yeah, I don't think Jonathan Russell can did anything worse than what DJ did in that game. Yeah, I don't. DJ is a very good player, but he's just off the pace at this moment. He just seems like a player that is searching for confidence. He's searching for game time. He's searching for match fitness. I even remember, just a few months ago, DJ was playing reserve football for Stoke City. How DJ, left from here at Preston North End to Stoke City, playing reserve football, It's remarkable how DJ just chopped off, Is it that we need to move on from Daniel Johnson? Yeah, but I want to see those players in the midfield. But also, which player really impressed me? Another young player again, King, the Cavalier man. He was in around that World Cup qualifier squads, when the last sets of games, when under Paul Hall, he was in around, especially playing at Patry. And he just looked, he was growing, So we don't want to take out the youngsters in and out. You want to constantly picking them in the squad. If they're not going to get in the starting lineup, at least, let them stay in the squad and groom them for the future. I just think the future is so bright, for Reggae Boy football and the youngsters. It's so bright, man. It's just that we need to have that platform, mold them together, harvest these young crops together so we can have players for the next 10 years. We have players that, in the squad, even Lati is a very young player. Bernard, these players, can be around for the next 10 years for the Reggae Boy team, So looking at, I'm looking at the attackers, the possible players that can be, in the squad. I'm just wondering what happened to Devante Cole. What happened to that player? A player that got invited in the two-legged game against Canada in the Nations League, the quarterfinal, and actually seen him in the national stadium in that first leg and in the second leg. So what happened to that player? Why he's not in around the team? I would love to hear what's really happening, because look, Mikel, is at that level of his career where he just cannot do it week in, week out. And play those play. Look at those 2 games. They have to rest him for the Dominica game. He played so many minutes in that Dominica Republic game, and it seems like he just cannot do it a full 90 minutes. He just cannot give that intensity that we're looking for. So I'm saying, Devante, we think we're short at quality. I think we need one more body up front in that number 9 position, that one more extra striker, to give us that extra quality. And I just think, a player like Devante Cole can actually give us that, behind Shamali Nicholson, Kareem Dixon, it's not really, you not really want to say an out and out number 9, but someone that can play, but he's flexible across the front 2, or if it's a front 3, you go, he just go everywhere. He's so busy, but that focal point, that number 9, someone that is present, can be felt in the box whenever something happens, so I just think, love to hear what's happening to Devante Cole. He had a poor second half of the season in League One. His contract is out at Barnsley. Championship club is looking at him at this moment. Is it that he's available for selection? Is it that he's focusing on getting a new club for the upcoming season, in England? So, Jamal Lowe, another player that, is currently, Jamal Lowe is currently discussing, terms with Swansea, the team that, he was at. He's a fan favorite there. His contract is out at, Bournemouth, looking for, to rejuvenate his career again. He did it, at Swansea under Copa, so let's see if he can, get back to the Jamal Lowe that, played at Portsmouth and at Swansea City under Copa. So, we have a very good squad, but when you talk about the likes of, Omari Gray, Cephas, look at those players that played on the left-hand side, and look at the right-back position for the 3 teams that we're going to come up against. It's not the best. They are not the best 1v1. Preciado, the right-back for Ecuador, Jorge Sanchez, the right-back for Mexico. Yeah, they are not the best 1v1. They do not like to defend it 1v1 against players that are going to come at them very quick, explosive pace, very direct, come at them, with skill. Yeah, so let's see, if we can maximize our potential on the wing here, as I think that is something that we should try to unlock more in our game. The wing plays, we need to unlock that, because those South American teams, 2 South American teams, they will give a lot of space in the wing position, as they tend to love to attack. The Ecuadorian team have averaged 13 crosses per game. Yeah, so we're going to get a lot of wing play in terms of dealing it on our defensive side. So we're going to have to try to do the same. Even though the Ecuadorian team, their average height in the backline, those center half, I think the average height is around, the last time I checked, it was around 6'2" tall. Most of those center half, they are over 6'3". Yeah, so they are very physical behind. So that's why, Mikel Antonio is still vital to this Copa America squad. Yeah, he's still vital to this Copa America squad. His physical present, it's going to be needed, just as how Boza, Boza going to have to use up his physical strength a lot, especially in that Ecuador game. It's going to be the Reggae Boy is going to be at a military training camp. It's going to be so physical in that midfield, so Copa America, that's where the Reggae Boy will also need Nana Lowe. Yeah, that's all we're going to need Nana Lowe. Nana Lowe is going to be needed in those games, in that midfield, to give that physical strength, yeah, to help us, because, we are a little bit lightweight in that midfield when it comes on, to when you look at a very experienced player like Rincon, for Venezuela, Yangel Herrera, a very physical player, Caceres, Joseph Martinez, those players are very physical, Caicedo, Franco, Cruzo, those players are very physical, for Ecuador and Venezuela, so we're going to need that extra strength, we're going to need that extra body in the midfield, to cope with the non-stop running. Yeah, but this is where I really leave it, people. This is where I really leave it. Yeah, this is my little take on around, the Group B of the Copa America, of the Reggae Boy, Venezuela, Mexico, and also Ecuador. So, people, all eyes are towards that announcement coming up in a few hours from now. So, guess what? Me, I gotta make sure start prepare my local dinner, prepare what me need for do, because that's going to be a big, big telling point if the Reggae Boy is going to make it out of group or wherever, I think we can tap this zone. If we get six, if not six, but if the Reggae Boys manage to get 3 points in that first game, it will set us up really well to get something from the rest of the 2 games, and also, show the rest of the 2 teams in that look, we have something in our sleeve that we beat the L3, we look up to beat the LAC3. Can we beat the L3? Can we beat the LAC3? The 2-3, yeah, Mexico and Ecuador. We need to beat them. But in this group, I strongly believe that no team in Group B will come out on maximum 9 points. I do not feel that way, that these 4 teams in Group B will not come out maximum. I don't see Ecuador come out maximum. I see every team in this group, will drop points somewhere in one of those games. I just have that feeling. The competitiveness of this group, it is so close. The quality amongst the players, it is so close. The coaches, the spectacles around the four teams, the issues that's really happening, the Reggae Boy, problem in the midfield, coaching staff issues for Ecuador, the identity of the Ecuador national team, not knowing his best starting lineup in the back. The Venezuelan team, I think it's probably the most stable team in this zone. And it's so difficult to say that the Venezuelan team, under Fernando Baptista, it is so stable, but there is issue. It is going to be a hell of a ride. Is it that he's going to play, Savarino, Soteldo, those players play on the wing here in that midfield 4 and play 2 double pivot, but his midfield is so packed with quality. Yeah, it is, the Venezuelan team, I have said it, Rincon alone have over 130 caps for the Venezuelan national team. The Venezuelan midfield, the midfielders, that in the professional squad, they have over 300 caps amongst them. So we see that, we're coming up against teams that is very experienced, is having a very solid foundation. They're building on something. There's something in the air, when I talk to, my few Venezuelan friends, about the Venezuelan team. And also, I have an interview coming up with a Venezuelan journalist. Yeah, it won't be live. It will be like a pre-record because the language barrier is not so fluent in English. Yeah, so we have to set it up where, we can understand each other. So, I have that. I think that video, if everything goes well tonight, when we do that video, it will drop early tomorrow. I'm working on actually, I'm talking to a Venezuelan, journalist, also a radio host. Yeah, I'm actually talking, see how we can potentially, line up to do some video. I want to do some collabs. I want to, invite people from the teams that we want to play. Yeah, just like what I did, I spoke to, the Dominican Republic fan who's a technical director for a club local in Damrep. I spoke to Dominica, people who surrounding Dominican football. Didn't manage to get them, but they gave me a few insights, of what's happening. So, I'm talking to Mexican, fans, a Mexican vlogger also, Venezuelan. I'm talking to a few Venezuelan. I'm working on the Ecuadorian one. So let's see if I can manage to pull off these stuff, I'm doing some groundwork behind the scene to see if I can. But again, because these countries, they are not being known to speak in English, it is so difficult to get someone that's actually can speak fluent English yet. But let's see, I think, big up to the affectionate, marathon up, Daniel as usual, Pies, future star, glad Chelsea signing, Los Blancos up bad, bro. Alison Silva, big up yourself, yeah. You said hi, Jamaica, Brazil. Yeah, said Reese Nelson, Jamaica. That is so cool. That is so great. I would love to see Reese Nelson go into the squad. Love to say, Jordan, big up yourself. You get what I say? Yeah, but yeah, man, that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm going to get myself prepared, get my dinner sorted out, get everything sorted, because later, all eyes are right there on CFM TV. Yeah, all eyes right there on CFM TV, and actually, all eyes on my brethren. Ryan, big up yourself. You don't know your show. Big later. You hit the show big later, because you don't know. It's right there around your time when you start your show. Yeah, you will having all the people them looking towards you to break down. So people might depend upon you later in Ryan. So I'm also looking forward to watch that program, as that's when the Reggae Boy Squad will be known. But people, that's where I leave it from here. Really appreciate everybody's service. Yeah, remember, later, I'm out.
No matter what you do, say that we can't stop. We stand up and salute down to the yellow, the green, the black. And make them know say that we